What a bumper weekend of racing action we've got to look forward to. Of course, we've got a Betfred sponsored card, the first of three very busy weeks for us here at Betfred at Haydock, and then Haydock again next week. And then we're just 2 weeks away, of course, from the Betfred Derby Festival. Cannot wait for that. Please like and subscribe this channel, and you'll get all the tips ahead of time for those big weekends and more besides. As always, Frankie and Jason are alongside us. Boy, the sun is shining, although, Jason, that might not last for too long.
No, I think we're going to get a little bit of rain, aren't we? And certainly needed. We've had fairly quick conditions. One thing that's been driving me mad, I'm sure every punter out there is thinking the same, overwatering. You know, you go into places expecting it to be sort of parched and fairly quick, and you get that top layer being kicked off, and it's just not really good for consistent sort of results, if you like. So a little bit of a worry. I want them to leave the ground alone.
And Frankie, I say it's nice to be busy though, isn't it? This is 3 very busy weeks for us boys.
Yeah, it's a fun time. The Betfred sponsored card up at Haydock. There's action everywhere you look, really, this weekend. And then obviously a couple of weeks away from the big ones, the Betfred Derby and the Betfred Oaks. I love that festival. It's always good fun, isn't it? The Oaks Day is just a fanfare. Everyone gets dressed up. It's good fun. And then it's all about the Betfred Derby on the Saturday.
On that, just remember, everybody, right? Lounge suit, smart on the
Saturday.
Friday, right? Smart on the Friday, and then you can wear your top hat and tails. The amount of people who turn
Always
up
a couple.
tails. Oh, there's always a couple. It's a shocker.
To be honest, I very nearly did it a couple of years ago on what was my first year at the festival. And thank God someone texted me on the Thursday night saying, just so you know, top and tails Saturday.
Is that like going out with your mates and telling them it's fancy dress? And
Mate, I'm telling you now, if you turn up in your top hat and tails on Friday, you go straight to the bouncy castle end. I'm telling you, down there.
Mate, I am the bouncy castle when I wear that. I do like the fat controller, and I sure get some stick once again for our attire. But that's 2 weeks away. We cannot wait for that. Next week we've got a Betfred sponsored card at Haydock as well with the Betfred John O'Gaunt Stakes. But this week we're also on Merseyside. Jason's there with the ITV cameras. We've got 5 brilliant races, and we start, Jason, it's nearly start 1:15 with the Hellknock, a competitive handicap.
Yeah, it's a good little race. You've got a few in here that are definitely going to need the rain, aren't you? The likes of a Latam, who we know is an absolute mudlark. Right down the bottom, Can Do No More, who's won a couple, been put up 4, but Amy Waff takes off another 3, so is probably well treated. But I think that No Retreat at the top of the pack here for George Scott. He was a big improver throughout the winter over in Dubai. Set off with Varian, went across to Forsey Nass. He's done nothing but get better. Probably one of those you'd be thinking a bit further down the line, he'd be up in Patton Company.
Okay, No Retreat then. Off top weight, class will out in the opener for Jason. What about you, Frankie?
An old favourite of mine, Matt, Empire State of Mind, who isn't quite a mudlark, but he does go on soft ground, but he does have form on firm ground as well. He won last year off a mark of 87. He runs off of 88. You've got to put a line through his last run. He got badly hampered. When I say badly hampered, he pretty much got stopped in his tracks. It was too far out to know exactly how he was going to finish the race, but he was travelling well enough for me. And I just think off 88, he's overpriced because he's a consistent horse over the mile.
There we are. I don't know what a Ludmark is.
A mudlark.
Right, we'll look forward to that then. So 2 in the opener for the boys. Then, Jason, one of the most competitive 3-odd handicaps we've got. We had the London Gold Cup last week. This is for the Classic Generation, over a mile in the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, there'll be a few people thinking Thunder Wonder can bounce back after a bit of a disappointing run at Sandown. He fairly bolted up, didn't he, at Musselburgh? And you've got unexposed runners. Taroom, I suppose Humam is on the recovery as well. I've had a good look through these replays last night. Now, he's a whopping price. You've got to try and knock one out of the park. I think they'll go a million mile an hour here. Tilted Kilt, who goes for William Knight and Kieran Fallon, ran at Sandown in that race with Thunder Wonder. Then they threw him in over a mile and a quarter on the synthetic up at Newcastle. He's back in trip. Ryan Moore doesn't give too many an average ride. When he rode him at Sandown, it was bang average. Caught wide, bumped around, stayed on the outside. He's a huge each-way player, back over his ideal trip. Drawn in 5 as well, he's going to get a nice run into the contest.
We expect nothing less than a decent price one in the handicap stuff, Jason. Tilted Kilt for him. What about you, Frankie?
Yeah, Jace has given you a 20 to 1 shot. I can't beat that. But around the tens mark, Transparent was second to King Casper at Newmarket. And based off the observation, I think he just got a bit unbalanced coming out the dip. I'd say that along with a £7 swing at the weights, might be able to reverse that form. I just wonder whether he came slightly off balance as they came out of that dip, and that kind of ruined his race. I'm not saying he would have beat King Casper on the day, but I think he would have been closer, and now with a £7 swing, might be able to turn the form. So Transparent, I think, is a decent each way bet.
Okie dokie then. Right, that's the Silver Bowl. We move on to the 225. And I was at Haydock on Thursday, and just as a little bit of knowledge for you, a bit of trivia. This is a brand new race for them. I think it's been transferred from Ayr, and they give it the name the Hedge of Oak, which apparently means Haydock in Roman times. There you are, Jason. You can wow the ITV crowd with that. But it's the first run-in of it. It's an extended 10 furlongs. It's a listed contest, and Jason, they've been treated with a nice field.
And we all, if you've gone down that route with the history lesson, they used to play football on Chester's racetrack, didn't they? Back in, I think it was 1842. They say Bruff Scott was on the left wing up there at the time. That's what we always give him anyway, give him the welly. Sorry, Bruff. I'm very boring here. Running Lion, she was an absolute howler coming down the hill at Newmarket. Watch it back, chopping and changing legs all the way down there. She did win there, but when she was rated way, way below where she is now. Look, 114. She didn't run anywhere near that last time. Surely this Bowling Green, new race, everything's in her favour, and she likes to pop along up on the front end as well. So I'll stick with Running Lion to bounce back.
Okay, stick with the joy of Running Lion. Yes, at Haydock, nice even surface may well suit her. Frankie?
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. I'm not super confident on it, but it was kind of a process of elimination. I don't think Diamond Rain's got the form in the book, really. Tasmania's back from a huge break, and the target, I guess, will probably be the Curragh, where she ran last year. And then those below, just as Jay said, they're around the kind of 100 mark and probably aren't good enough. If I was trying to take her on each way, maybe with Secret Satire, who's ran well over the 10 furlong trip. But yeah, I think Running Lion should just have the class to win this. And probably a sort of looking at a couple of Jonathan Haley Gosden's lead artists, for example, who won at Newbury last week. He ran a stinker on his first start and then was super fit for the next time. So I'd say she should be hard to beat.
Yeah, the Sheen Murphy obviously on duty over the Curragh. We'll look at the Irish 2000 again shortly. Kieran Fallon stepping into the breach on Running Lion. Right, we have got two brilliant Group 2 sprints to look forward to. The Sandy Lane is like a Commonwealth Cup trial, but it's a cracking Group 2 in its own right, Jason. We've got a good field of 10 3-year-olds here, and this is one of those races where the weather, if it rains, get plenty of moisture, it could change the outlook.
Yeah, that'll be key for horses that are returning, the likes of a Powerful Glory, who, when he won the Mill Reef, it was bottomless. We don't really know how he's going to be under quicker conditions. Big Mojo, I think this track will suit him better, won't it, than last time? Speed favouring, everything about it is fine. Arizona Blaze, we know that he was a rocket juvenile, and spoke to David Egan at Yarmouth. He was pretty high on his chances. But look, I was at Newbury when Symbol of Honour won. He's a gelding, so he can't go forward into the Group 1s, which is a bit of a shame. There's been the talking point, hasn't it, regarding Australia. They let all of them run. But he was mighty impressive. Travelled in the middle of the pack, won really well. Once Buick gave him the office, he was well in control late on in a good time. That was a career best. He's climbing the ladder.
It was Symbol of Honour then for William Buick and Charlie Appleby, who are in great form at Haydock already this week. Frankie?
Yeah, I think I agree with Jace. He beat a decent field at Newbury as well, so if you can kick on from that, then he probably is above. A lot of these, they're kind of your Group 2, Group 3, aren't they? They're very consistent at that level, but there isn't a Group 1 horse in here. The only other horse I'd give a shout to, who I think is a very fair each way bet, is Ain't Nobody, who was third at Ascot behind Big Mojo and ran a decent race on the near side. I think that 6 furlong trip has improved him, whereas in the Flying Childers he was a bit outpaced, and he was running on fairly strongly at Ascot. So I think he's a nice each way bet, but Symbol of Honour was very impressive at Newbury. I think he did it quite easily in a good field.
Yeah, he certainly did. Right, unanimous then for the boys in blue. Right, the Betfred Temple Stakes. Group 2, over the flying 5 furlongs. Blink and you will miss them. 11 set to go to post. And we've got a beautiful mix, Jason. We've got some seasonal returns like Starlost, the Breeders' Cup hero. We've got Rumstar, of course, who's very impressive in the Aberdeen, and American Affair, who is now progressing from handicaps, and lots of others as well, to horses in new yards. This, as it should be, is a cracker.
Yeah, it's a belter. Magira, who goes for Ed Walker and William Buick, they'll be hoping the rain arrives, won't they? Was pretty impressive over in France last time. So again, it's a touch of a weather watch. Starlust has been nothing but a massive improver throughout last season. I thought that he got an absolute peach when he won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He'll be flashing fast and late, won't he? But trying to find the winner is tough enough, especially if we don't know Starlust is going to be fit. A horse who's completely forgotten about in the market, and the team bought him for 80,000 at the Horses in Training sale, is Twilight Calls. Jamie Spencer gave him an absolute howler at Newmarket, slowly away, was out the back, made up ground into the middle part of the race. Now, we know he doesn't win. But it's factored into the price. That's why, at a whopping double-digit price, he's an each-way play. He was second in this a couple of years ago, and his form at Haydock's pretty good. I think he's massively overpriced.
All aboard, Matt, isn't it? All aboard. I was biting
Can
my
we do
tongue
it again?
to let you finish what you were saying without interrupting and saying you can't possibly let him run at 18s or whatever it is, 16s. I mean, yeah, he's running this en route to Ascot, where he's come second or third or fourth in the Group 1 there, hasn't he? He's a funny old horse to follow because he runs his best in those Group 1s and disappoints us in these lesser races. But he's a massive price. He's not just, a fair each way bet. He's a very big price, and he has improved from the last couple of seasons from Newmarket to Haydock when he's taken the same route. He has been a touch better when he's come to Haydock. So you've got him. He's the biggest price he's been when we've spoken about him for the last 3 years, Matt. we can't let him go.
And remember at the start of the year, we were talking about jockeys to follow. Lewis Edmonds, George Wood gets an opportunity at a big one. He's a great rider. Make no mistake. He'll be so on his game and want to have him there. And I'm pretty sure it was Kirby who rode him when he was second, and he travelled into it like he was going to win. And of course, he disappointed. But do I see him winning? Probably not. Do I see him running a great race and finishing second and me screaming as if he's going to win? And all of us, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there in the parade ring, Jason, won't we? It'll be agony. We'll see him making that burst at the furlong pole, and he comes there with a withering run, and then he just doesn't quite get there, and we'll be tearing our hair out for probably about the 16th time that we have backed Twilight Calls. Yes, he's just one of those. He is the cliff horse of all of ours, I think. But yeah, you're right. He's going to have a big chance. He should not be that price, and they have taken a bit of a gamble, haven't they, the Spencer team, the Cunningham team, in buying him from Juvenile Park. Right, that's Haydock, the Betfred sponsored card there. We've got a couple of races at Goodwood. I've got a Derby and an Oaks trial at Goodwood on the card this weekend. But we start at 1:30 down at the beautiful Sussex Downs with a 7 furlong handicap. And again, this is the one. It's a big field, Jason. The draw can be key here.
Yeah, it can be key. I think there's a good bit of pace on in here. Bob Marley is going to be high on a few lists. Sean Bowen gets a leg up for him. He got loose, didn't he, at Chester? He got rid of the jockey anyway and then ran okay. He's a pace angle. Power Fizz has been going through the grades really well. Drawn out in 16, will be pushing forward. But a horse who I put up and butchered his name when he ran at Chester last time, Cyclonite, however you want to call it. He was running on the turf, showing that he can be as fully effective under those conditions. Ran really well on all-weather finals day, posted up the middle of the track, had no chance from there. Ray Dawson, now he's not the biggest anyway, Ray, but getting down to 8 stone 5 is a big pointer to his chances. I'd say he's a bit of a runner. Store 13, not ideal, big each-way player.
Okay, sick on that then for Jason. What takes your eye in this big field, Frankie?
Going to give Best Rate another chance. I backed him at Newmarket. I think he just looks a bit of a nuisance. He was gelded over the winter, and then he doesn't start the best. He gets a bit worked up, but I'm hoping after 3 starts this season, he might get the hang of it on his 4th. And he's had some positive bookings. Ryan's rode him, Sean rode him last time. He was second last time out over 7, and hopefully Holly can get his head straight and get him winning.
Okay, then best rate for Frankie. Right, the Height of Fashion Stakes is a Betfred Oaks trial, but of course we're only 2 weeks away, or less than 2 weeks away now from that next classic. 10 of them set to face the starter on this occasion. Again, there could be rain around, that might be key, but unlike the usual to these trials, Jason, we've got a decent field and quite a competitive market.
Well, decent field because they're all sandwiched together, aren't they? They're like high 70s. There's a couple that are, rated 70s. Not really what you're expecting for listed company. It's low level, if we're being honest, with a top-rated filly on a mark of 90, Queen of Thieves, who finished last when we saw her at Chester. I mean, she won an average little maiden when she won at Yarmouth. Couldn't have her on my mind, although she may well have fallen into a weak little contest. She's been picked because I'm with Perfect Your Craft. And the reason we've picked her is that she's got the most amount of improvement going forward. Beckett's team are just starting to fire. She only won by a small margin at Salisbury, but it's all on potential because I know quite a bit about the others. And you go through the form, it is not the strongest by listed standards. There'll be something finishing third in here, nicking a bit of black type, that puts 4 noughts on its price tag when it goes up the sales.
And that's what plenty will be hoping for, Frankie, with a black type for the breeding sheds.
Yeah, it'd be slightly ironic if Kieran Schumacher rides the winner when John and Thady have got 2 others in here that he's not going to get the leg up on. But I do kind of half fancy Jenny Mackers. I know she ran really badly at Newmarket, but Falakia set a seriously strong pace, and I wonder if that maybe just caught a couple of them out on their first start back. It was probably quite hard to go with her. And the form has been franked. I know that Jenny Mackers was well beaten, 16 lengths behind, but a race was over. Clean Queen, who was third, and San Gazelle were the 1-2 at Newbury last weekend. And I'm hoping just off a bit of old form and the fact that Dav Menezier's have all sort of needed the run, and maybe she did just get herself in a bit of bother with Falekia going so hard, she could actually bounce back to a bit of form. So I'm sticking with Shuey.
Yeah, I think Goodwood are due a little bit of rain as well. I'm just going to check the
yeah, she went on soft at Donny, didn't she?
Exactly,
I'm hoping that's not just her bag. I just wonder that maybe they went flat out, and on your first start back, it can be quite hard to deal with and keep travelling, can't it? So I think the race was over.
I think she was his 1,000 guineas hope momentarily, wasn't she? I'm pretty sure he was pretty high on her.
She was fancied, wasn't she, at Newmarket, and obviously disappointing. But yeah, you might give her one run. David Menezier's not in the best of form, is he? But the nice horses, they can still run well.
Local track, bit of rain around, yet may outrun her double-figure price. Right, let's head up to the westward then, to Beverly. Got the Hillary Neal. It used to be a listed contest still. We're looking at Royal Ascot types here with these juvenile fillies. Nick Bradley's got 3 in it. I've got a bit of good course for me because Ali Shuffle beat Argentine Tango early on in the season, Jace.
Yeah, it's a good little race, isn't it? These will be off and gone, rattling up the hill. Ali Shuffle got the money at Chester, but was gifted the race, wasn't it? Drawn down on the paint, skipped around the inside and got the job done. I'm going to upgrade the performance of Saucy Jane for Jack Morland. Now, hardly anything at York managed to make all coming down there. There was a little bit of a headwind, especially when she ran. And she just she snaked her way out of the gate, jinked, and then ran up with the choke out upside the leader. So I'm going to upgrade that performance. Quite like the booking of Ben Robinson. He won't be scared to drop her in and give her a chance, even though she did make all in a lesser event at this venue previously. Yeah, I think that Jack Morland, he's desperate to get one to go to the Royal Meeting, and he can hopefully pick this up along the way.
Okay, Saucy Jane, they're one of 3 in the Nick Bradley colours. Frankie, where do you go?
Yeah, we spoke after the race at Chester, didn't we, and said we weren't convinced that Ali Shuffle was of the better that the Nick Bradley Racing Club have had over the years. Angel Numbers was obviously impressive first time out, and Jamie Insol's 2-year-olds are doing well. The thing that swayed me back to the favourite is speaking to Sam James after Chester, and he said that Ali Shuffle wouldn't go and win that impressively. Just a straightforward horse, gets on with the job, and is actually a lovely horse to race with. So off the back of that, maybe Ali Shuffle might never do it that flashy, but is still good enough to win. So I'm going to stick with the fav.
Okay, stick with the fav there, Ali Shuffle for Carl Burke. And then we move on to the 2-year-old trophy as well. A similar contest, this time for the Colts and Gelding's only 6 go to post. And again, it's Carl Burke with the favourite. But this is totally different, Jason, because he's unraced Naval Light, and Wathen have done this before, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Shareholder, who managed to get the job done last year. Look, he wasn't cheap, 360,000. And look, it'll all be about Paddock and how he takes everything going down there. I think that they've underestimated in the market Rakib, who goes for Richard Hannon. Now, Sam Hitchcock doesn't get too many opportunities. He went up to Ripon, got this lad to win, and he's been able to keep the ride. He's got a nice pedigree by 10 sovereigns, was flat to the mat at Ripon, and you know it rolls away from you, but right on top of the line is where he was going his best. Underestimate the Hannon camp at your peril. They know a thing or two about a good juvenile, and I think that he's just been overlooked completely in the market. How often would Hannon send one up to Beverly in a juvenile race off the back of a victory and see it posted out there at, I don't know, 9-2, 5-6s around there? He's a big, big price.
He is, yeah, and obviously the newcomer takes a big chunk out of the market as well, Frankie.
Yeah, it's a tough ask though, isn't it? And obviously we don't know a whole lot about him. I was quite impressed with Old as Gold at Ascot. Finished third behind Military Code, was it? Yeah, Godolphin horse anyway, that's got a couple of royal entries. Yeah, Military Code. And look, we know that Andrew's always improved for the run. Ashim wasn't too hard on him that day. I thought it was quite a nice performance from Old as Gold, so I'd be willing to side with him. I think he's a nice sprinter in the making.
Okay, right. That's all the English action we need to wrap up.
Owned by Rhys James as well, if you're a football fan.
What, Old is Gold?
Yeah.
No, it's in that.
Well, part of
part of the syndicate.
Yeah.
Right, let's focus on the Irish 2000 Guineas, and again, an absolute brilliant renewal. Judman got a strong hand with 3. And when you've got horses like Rashabar, twice placed in Group 1s as a juvenile, Winlord as well, who ran in Group 1s as a juvenile, at massive 20-33 to 1s, Jason, it's going to show the strength we've got. Can Field of Gold gain compensation here, or are we looking elsewhere?
Well, I think the thing is here, normally we are ruled, and the run of the race is ruled by Aidan O'Brien, isn't it? Not on this occasion. Juddmonte, they're the big boys in the playground on this occasion. And Winlord, cheap pieces on the first time, that will be popping along up on the front end to guarantee a strong pace. We're going to sort them out when it comes down to about 2.5 to run. And I expect Field of Gold to be very, very impressive coming up the hill at the Curragh. This track will suit him down to the ground. You're right to mention, we want to see a good horse, don't we? That's the absolute key. I think he is a really good horse. The punting side of me wants to give Rashabar a major chance, but really Brian Meehan's need the run when they go to the races. But he was fat on his return at Newbury behind Jonquil. Jonquil was staying on behind Henry Matisse over in France. The form has worked out good. He's a big each-way player. So I'll have a couple of quid on Rashabar each way. I think Field of Gold is too good.
Okay, Field of Gold then, too good, but Rashabar, yes, worth an each way interest at a decent price. Frankie, how do you assess the Irish 2000 Guineas?
I'll be interested to know Jason's thoughts from a jockey perspective. I think both Colin Keane and Ashim Murphy have got quite... they've got not a free hit. I wouldn't call it a free hit, but they've got a nice opportunity to ride the race how they want. Because Colin Keane, he's definitely not going to go too late, is he, after the media storm we had? So he knows that he can go forward and really basically try and take the race, and go and win it at the right time. And then Ashim Murphy knows that Field of Gold is going to do that. So he's got a horse which has got a nice turn of foot, and he could probably just follow Field of Gold and see if he's good enough. So from those two jockeys' perspectives, I think they've got free rein to go and do just that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And like I said, with Winlord in there from Juddmonte as well, he'll be popping along up on the front end to guarantee that Aidan hasn't got all angles covered. I mean, look... That'd
be good viewing, wouldn't it? Juddmonte in the 1-2-3 with a furlong to go.
Yeah, they'll be popping up there, won't they? I mean, Officer, I don't know what you thought. All right, he won last time, but he wasn't super impressive, was he? It's sort of like a late change of mind, if you like, going in here. And Expanded was beaten too far. I think he's much better than what he showed last time. So, and hot as hell. When he won up at Doncaster, it was bottomless ground, wasn't it? So, bit of a weather watch. But no, you're absolutely right. Cosmic Year, Harry Charlton. This will be massive for him and that team.
Ashin's in decent form as well, isn't he? Banged in a treble at Windsor, a double, I think, last night. A horse we haven't mentioned, Score Champ. Again, a nice price if you're trying to find an each-way play to take on those at the top of the market. Was obviously well beaten at Newmarket, but that was his first start back. And he did win at the Curragh last year, beating Henry Matisse, as Jace mentioned, who's obviously gone on to win the French edition. So I'd say that if he just needed the run at Newmarket, with that under his belt and back on home turf, potentially could run a big race for Joseph O'Brien.
Right, 9 run, you mentioned 10. Which one?
Score the
Field of
champ
Gold wins, Rashabar each way.
Field of Gold wins, Rashabar each way. Score the champ each way for you, Frankie.
Yeah.
And I think obviously we mentioned so many because it's just one of those races. Though Field of Gold is odds on, if he goes and wins, there's so many in there that are maybe playing for the places, but have all got huge chances on what is fantastic juvenile form. It is as a brilliant, as it should be, of course, for a classic. Right, let's get your best bets. We've covered 10 races. Jason, what's your strongest thought of the weekend, please?
The one I think is the wrong price is Tilted Kilt, who goes early on the card at Haydock. I just thought, as from an each-way play, over the mile around there, you've got a nice position in 5, got a rider who's going to get a nice slot just in behind the leaders, Kieran Fallon, and he's back over what I think is his ideal distance. William Knight's team have been in really good form.
Cool, Tilted Kilt then at a big price. Frankie?
Gosh, I can't go in the same race, can I? So I'll go one after. We'll have 2 nice prices for punters to have a go at. Transparent in the 150 at Haydock. Just think he might be better suited by the track and gets a swing at the weights with one at the top of the market.
You are going in the same race.
Am I?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought Jace won the race before.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Head to head. Come on, head to head. Own it.
Well, I would have
bet.
liked to go on with Empire State of Mind, but yeah, go on then. We'll go head to head.
Match bet. There you go. Right, boys. Obviously, Jason will be at Haydock this weekend. I'll go and join him as well for this Betfred sponsored card, and Frankie's out and about as well. So a brilliant weekend of action. 10 races in front of the ITV cameras. Cannot wait. Whatever you are back in, the very best luck in the case. Please like, subscribe, because it is Betfred are taking over the racing world over the next 3 weekends. In 2 weeks' time, it is the Betfred Derby Festival. We'll see you soon.